Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. Today we're going to continue our series on Magic the Gathering. This is part of an ongoing series where I inform Magic players about the history behind the cards from the new Dungeons & Dragons based set, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Today we're going to talk about the new class cards and go over a few of the defining abilities tied to each class. Older editions of D&D had several classes as well as subclasses or prestige classes that had certain requirements you had to achieve before becoming that class. The current edition, 5th, did away with all that nonsense and instead has 12 core classes. Each of those classes, at level 2 or 3, lets you choose a path that opens up additional abilities tied to that path, as well as the core class abilities. For example, wizards specialize in a school of magic. They can become diviners, capable of seeing the future or avoiding ill fates, or necromancers, adept at raising the dead as minions. But regardless of the path, all wizards have a spellbook. They learn magic through rigorous study and are capable of casting spells like Burning Hands or Magic Missile. These spells deal damage and can outright kill a weak foe like a goblin or a kobold. Later on, they can teleport their entire party to a safe location or further into danger, depending on what is needed. Eventually, with enough study and experience, wizards are able to cast world-altering magic like Wish, or magic capable of decimating armies like Meteor Swarm. Sorcerers, like wizards, also use arcane magic to control the battlefield. The spells they have access to are very similar to the ones known to wizards. The key difference is that while a wizard needs to spend years studying, sorcerers are born with an innate talent for magic. They simply know the spells. The drawback, of course, is that a wizard can, with enough time and practice, eventually learn hundreds of spells, but the pool a sorcerer can draw from is limited. Sometimes they don't even have full control over their magic, like Delina Wildmage. She was a moon elf in training to become a wizard like her twin brother when her magic suddenly manifested, wild and chaotic. Warlocks make a pact with an ancient and powerful entity to access their powers. Whether it's something from the Feywild or beyond space and time itself, they enter into a pact for power. Some demons enjoy collecting warlocks, using them as pawns in their aeons-long war against the forces of good. Oftentimes, warlocks have tragic backstories, as seen in Grim Wanderer. However, they can be more happy and chaotic, dealing with fairies, as seen in Feywild Trickster. You don't have to play a grimdark sad character to play a warlock, but it can certainly be fun. Each patron and pact path a warlock chooses grants them different abilities. There is even a path you can take that lets you cast Fireball, just like Faraday. Or maybe you become a Hexblade Warlock, giving up some of your spellcasting capabilities to focus on melee combat with a cursed sword you received from your patron. Bards are most often support characters. Their music is magic and they lift up the morale of their allies or cause confusion amongst their enemies. Wandering troubadours are a common sight in the Forgotten Realms. Bards love collecting stories and songs the same way a dragon collects gold. Of course, not all art needs to be music. Some bards are painters, like Kaelin. Because she can draw upon the weave, raw magic controlled by the goddess of magic herself, the monsters she paints came to life. Rangers love the outdoors and are at one with the wilderness around them. They are friends of nature, often traveling with animal companions like the ranger's hawk. This is also shown in legendary creature cards like Minsk Beloved Ranger and Varys Silvery Moon Ranger. Because of their familiarity with the wilderness, they are easily able to find the path. Barbarians are often nomadic peoples who live off the land. Savage and wary of the ways of city dwellers, they prefer to deal with their problems the old-fashioned way, with an axe. Some tribes worship specific beasts and adopt fighting styles similar to those animals. Druids are the caretakers and keepers of nature. While barbarians and rangers respect the wild, druids defend it. Because of this, nature grants them magical powers. Wild Shape is an ability all druids learn, but some paths focus on it, while others focus on spellcasting. Druids who are members of the Circle of Dreams, for instance, have chosen a path that has strong ties to the Feywild and its dreamlike realms. Some druids focus their efforts on rebuilding broken ecosystems, like Scaled Herbalist or Gretchen Titchwillow. Most druids are solitary, preferring the company of trees or animals, but some do serve as healers to local communities. A monk trains their entire life to focus their ki. Through hard discipline and rigorous training, they become masters of open-handed combat. The Yellow Flower Monastery, one of the most famous and difficult-to-reach monasteries, is home to the Grand Master of Flowers, a mysterious figure with bright blue eyes. Fighters train nearly as hard as monks do, but instead of focusing on their bodies, fighters tend to focus their training with equipment. While every character wants more powerful items, fighters are almost entirely reliant on them to overcome enemy resistances, shear through tough scales, or resist powerful magics. Paladins are holy crusaders. They swear an oath, devoting themselves to uphold ideals or service to a specific god. They are granted magical power and can use that to call down a divine smite on an enemy, or to compel a foe to fight them in single combat. After they have gained enough levels, a paladin gains a trusty steed. A paladin who turns their back on their oaths and falls to evil becomes an oathbreaker paladin. Clerics, like paladins and warlocks, swear service to a deity or an ideal. Capable of wearing the heaviest of armors, clerics can be found in any race, devoted to any god. Some dedicate themselves to a single god, while others seek to preserve knowledge. They often buff allies, enhancing their strengths with divine magic. At higher levels, they can summon divine allies to help defeat foes or protect their friends. All clerics, regardless of alignment, can bring back fallen allies from the brink of death, or overcome death itself. Rogues are one of the most versatile classes in Dungeons & Dragons. Rogues have so many options to choose from it can be daunting for new players. Do you fly solo, running across rooftops, or are you a card-carrying guild member? In older edition, rogues were called thieves and could not be lawful good, but modern thinking has done away with that. After all, it takes a thief to catch a thief. Or, like Kreidel, maybe you just want to be free to help your friends how you see fit. There is actually a 13th class in Dungeons & Dragons called Artificer, though it did not get a class card like the other 12. This one focuses on building devices. The class was first introduced in Eberron, but was soon brought to the other D&D worlds like the Forgotten Realms. I believe it was excluded because it wasn't part of the original 12 in the player's handbook. Thanks for tuning in. I was excited to have new cards to talk about today. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. Please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all again next time.